Hi, Jenna Knight here. I'm an acupuncturist in Port Moody, BC, Canada, and I am the owner and operator of Zenflower Acupuncture. Today I want to talk to you about a little known fact about my practice. So you know I'm an acupuncturist, which means that I poke people with needles, but a lot of people don't know that I also see children. And when people hear this fact about me, they're like, I don't know how you do that. I'm like, well, it's really not that hard. It's actually quite easy. I take a couple of extra different steps than I would with an adult, but so far I've found that kids take treatment relatively well. And the youngest girl that I've seen has even been only 8 years old. So the very first thing that I do before I even touch them is I sit them down with their parent and I talk to them about consent. And I make sure that they really understand what that means and that this is their body, and that anything that I'm doing, if they don't want it, they need to tell me because it's their body, not mine. And I find that this sets the tone for really the rest of their life when they need to have medical treatment done. Because in a lot of cases, when they come to see me for acupuncture and they're just a kid, this is the first medical type experience that they've ever had. And even though it's a relatively non-invasive treatment compared to other things that they'll have done in their life, it's still the first somewhat medical treatment they've had. And it sets the tone for the rest of the treatments that they have in their life, for what they expect. So right off the get-go, I want them to know that this is their body. They need to give me consent, and if I'm doing anything that they don't like, they can tell me to stop at any time and I will stop. Now, usually when I say this, the parent that's in the room kind of pipes up a bit because, they're paying for the treatment, which is great, but I am not going to be doing anything to a child that they don't consent me doing. So I explain the treatment in great detail before I do anything, and I approach very slowly. I use the smallest needles, and I make sure numerous times throughout the treatment that the little person is still comfortable with everything that's being done. And so far, out of all the kids that I've seen, I have never had a child cry during treatment. So once I feel like I've got really good consent and the little person really understands what we're going to be doing in the treatment, then we proceed. I usually give them something to hold on to so that they feel like they have something that makes them feel like stable or grounded. Usually what I do is I go to like a rock and gem store and find some really pretty rocks, and I let them pick out whatever one that they feel good about or resonates with them, and they hold on to that rock. Then I usually start at the feet. I don't go right for the face or the head or the upper body. I go a little bit further back so that they don't feel like I'm so in their face. And like I said, I use the smallest needles possible. Usually when I go to put the needle in, I have them take a really big breath in, and we all count so that they know on the count of 3, once that big breath is in, the needle's gonna go in. And then as soon as the needle's in, I literally take 2 steps back. I give them a second. I'm like, how are you? Are you okay with that? And I give them a moment to think, was that okay? I say, can I continue? If they say yes, then we continue. If they say no, and that's it, I'm sorry, that's it. If they don't want more treatment, I'm not gonna proceed, even if mom's paying for it. I can't feel personally comfortable with needling someone who isn't giving me consent to needle them. So if it's only one needle, it's only one needle that day. Next visit, we can try again and see if we can do more. But at that visit, if they've only given me permission for one needle, that's all we're doing. So first visit, we usually only do a couple of points, and then each visit after that, we gradually increase the amount of needles that the person or the child can tolerate, and I go completely at their comfort level until we get to a full treatment, which means that it takes a little bit longer to get the results that we want, but it also means that we haven't wrecked acupuncture or future medical treatments for this little person, because they're not going to feel traumatized or stressed or overly emotional about being touched when they're having a medical procedure done. So you might be wondering, what kind of kid would need to come and see me for acupuncture? So I can tell you that so far I've seen children with emotional imbalances. They could be quite minimal, like stress, anxiety, the types of things that they experience going to school, pressure. Or it could be quite severe. I've seen cases where the young person has been hospitalized in a psychiatric facility. I've seen children who have issues with self-harm. I've seen young girls who struggle with eating disorders. and are quite deficient after recovering from that. I have seen quite athletic young people who are on sports teams or dance teams, whatever, and they've got injuries and they want to get back into competition quicker, so they come to see me for that. Whatever it is, if they are brave enough or curious enough and they want to try acupuncture, I'm definitely willing to give it a shot and work with them to get the best results possible. You know, I am a mom and I understand what it's like to have a little one at home who's struggling. And I do also understand what it's like when you take them to the doctor and you're not getting the results that you're wanting. Of course, when you're a parent, you want all of their pain and all of their stresses to be gone as quick as possible. So if this is the case for you and you're curious if acupuncture can help your little person recover quicker or get better results, you can always come in and see me. There's no pressure for treatment. And at the bare minimum, if you're just curious and you need someone to talk to about whether acupuncture could benefit you guys, you can always give me a call and I'd be happy to talk with you over the phone. Okay, world, have a great day, and until next time, stay tuned.